I got a chance to get my hands on the new OLED screen Nintendo Switch, and one upgrade really stood out to me as a game changer, but it was not that OLED screen. I got a chance to go to a hands-on event with the new OLED Nintendo Switch. It was also a chance to play Metroid Dread, which is one of Nintendo's big new holiday games, and I spent about an hour with both the game and the system, and that was my first opportunity to pick up and feel and look at in person this new version of the Switch. It's really the first, second, third, I would call it the fourth version of the Switch. There was the original, there was what we call the V2, which was just ever so slightly tweaked the next year. I think it had better battery life and a slightly different processor. Then there was the Switch Lite, so now we have the OLED Switch. And the big difference here is the body size is essentially the same. The screen, however, is bigger, and there's a thinner bezel around the screen. There's less dead space, so that bigger screen, again, fits in kind of the same size body. And of course, it's not a regular old LED screen, it is an OLED screen. That's the technology that's on, iPhones and the best big screen TVs. Basically, everyone who's a serious gamer or movie watcher has a big OLED TV, and now you've got an OLED screen on the Nintendo Switch.
You are faced with overwhelming power. Your highest priority should be simply to survive.
Inside, it's still basically the same Switch. It's got the same NVIDIA Tegra X1 processor. It's got the same Joy-Con controllers on the side. It does the same 720 screen resolution on the internal screen and 1080 output onto your TV. Still doesn't do 4K, and frankly, with an OLED screen, it would have been cool to have, 1080 resolution on it. But playing Metroid Dread on it, it certainly looked fine. But even in this very limited hands-on opportunity, I really noticed something that stood out to me a lot more than that OLED screen. It is a big improvement on one of the real weak points of that original Switch design. It was the Nintendo Switch kickstand on the back. In the original version, it was widely mocked as being a little tiny, little plastic kickstand piece that would kind of pop out, but would fall over very easily or just pop out of the system completely. If you put the kickstand out and put your Switch on a table and got a controller and tried to, if anyone walked by and just brushed against the table, the whole thing might fall over. It was not a great kickstand. The new kickstand is completely redesigned. It runs the entire width of the system. It looks a lot like the Microsoft Surface kickstand, which everybody loves as one of the best designed parts of the Microsoft Surface Pro line. That's a big tablet that has a kickstand. It comes out, you can bend it to any angle just about, and it'll stay wherever you put it. So you can take your Surface and put it on the table and make it lean down more, lean up more, and it feels very stable and very sturdy. The new Nintendo Switch kickstand feels pretty much the same way. I loved moving it to different angles. I could lean it back more if I was standing over it. I could make it more upright, more vertical, and it stayed everywhere I put it, and it did not feel like the Switch was going to fall right over. If you're planning on getting the new Switch and you're going to be using it in handheld mode a lot, well, that's pretty cool because the OLED screen, that's a big upgrade right there, and the kickstand, also a big upgrade. I used it with the Joy-Con controllers attached, sitting on the table at a nice angle, just kind of leaning over and putting my hands on it while I was playing Metroid Dread, which is a side-scrolling 2D Metroid game. Nintendo says it's the first 2D Metroid game, I think, in 19 years. It's a lot to me that their big holiday game is a 2D game, but hey, you know what? People like it. One part about the new OLED Switch I didn't get to check out was the new base. It's pretty much like the old base. That's the thing you slot your Switch into in order to connect it to your TV, but this base loses a USB port that was on it, but adds an Ethernet port, which could be important if you have spotty Wi-Fi or you just want to do super fast downloads, or you're one of those people who actually takes an Ethernet cable and plugs them into your game consoles. To me, anyone like that is a complete maniac, but you do you. Now, of course, all this comes at a little bit of an extra price. The OLED Switch is $350 versus the regular Switch, which is $300. The Switch Lite is even less. You do get, of course, the OLED screen. You get the better kickstand. You get the advanced dock, and you get 64 gigs of built-in storage space versus 32 gigs, which is nice because the first thing anybody ever has to do with a Switch is go out and get a micro SD card and put it in to store your games on. That said, for $300, you can get an Oculus Quest 2, which also has pretty advanced displays, and that has 64 gigs of storage in it, so. Based on my little hands-on session with the Switch, I already pre-ordered one of these and I'm feeling pretty good about that pre-order. I still have the original, basically day one Switch from when that first came out. If you just bought a Switch last year or 6 months ago, do you need to upgrade to the new one? It doesn't feel like it right now. If you're a frequent traveler and go everywhere with your Switch, okay, this seems like a great upgrade. If you're somebody who keeps your Switch docked all the time, always playing it on the TV, basically never take it with you handheld style, well then obviously you don't need this. This new Nintendo Switch, it comes out October 8th, just in time for the start of the holiday shopping season, so stay tuned to CNET because we are going to have a full review of the final hardware very, very soon.